Hey, Jason Rogers here. I'm at our office and I wanted to shoot a quick video for you because I was actually checking my text messages and my emails right now. And there's a client I'm working with who reached out to me a little earlier today, and he basically shared that he's at the key moment where he's looking to raise finance. He has a deal that he really likes. He has a leadership team he's built, a board of directors and accounting and legal support that's helping him go forth with doing his first deal. And now he's at that crunch time moment where he needs to procure the finance to get the deal done, get the deal closed. And he asked if I had any input as far as how he should go about that. And I gave him 3 options that he can consider, because what's happening is he's looking to do a 100% commercial debt deal. He has a ton of free cash flow. I believe the deal freely cash flows at over 150 to 250%, around that range of well over 150, all the way up to about 250, depending on the pro formas and how well the deal will operate under his new management. But the question became, how do I make this thing a success? How do I really get the finance? And I gave him 3 options. Number 1, use SBA, use the SBA financing program, because they're going to give you as much finance as you're going to get anywhere. And that's largely because the government's going to back 40 to even 80 or 100% of the deal, depending on how much you're able to really negotiate that, and depending on which SBA program you use. But you're at least going to get the government to back 40% of your deal if you go through the SBA. And what that means is it de-risks the deal for the commercial bank. It's going to lend you the money. So that's the first option, is I would look for the SBA financing to get as much finance, as much commercial debt as humanly possible. Option number 2 is you just sell through the concerns the bank has, right? Because the bank's always going to look for an equity infusion from the buyer, the purchaser, right? They're always going to want you to put some money in the deal to get skin in the game. So the first way you can get around that is naturally by using the SBA, because the SBA is going to require less equity infusion and it de-risks the deal on that perspective of the bank, naturally, because again, the government's going to back. But the second way to get around that is just to sell through it. Look, this deal is so hot. This industry is so incredible. Our leadership team is so exceptional. For these reasons, it's a slam dunk. This deal is going to get financed. It's not a matter of if it's going to get financed, it's a matter of when and under what terms, right? So you can simply sell through it and say, look, we have other banks that are interested. They are willing to look beyond the equity infusion aspect for this deal because they see our DSCR, our debt service coverage ratio, it's so high. This leadership team is so strong. This sector is so incredible that banks are willing to overlook it. And I would expect you to do the same, Mr. Banker, right? So you can sell through that close or that challenge rather. And oftentimes that works, not always, but it can work, obviously. And then the third way to go about still getting your deal financed if a bank is looking for that equity infusion is to get the equity infusion, to actually fundraise a little bit of capital, or you can use your own capital, but to either fundraise capital, which, by the way, you're selling upside when you're bringing investors on, whereas you're trying to mitigate the downside when you're trying to procure bank finance. So when you're going to investors, it's, hey, look, we're going to get you a 10% rate of return each year, and we're going to give you 20% of the deal. What do you say? And if you structure your offer to an investor correctly, you can get them to bite and to get excited about putting some money in the deal, and that can serve as the down payment for the acquisition. So those are 3 different ways that you can go about really pushing the deal through at the 1-yard line and get it over the goal line for a touchdown. But the last thing I would say is make sure you stay certain that you will get the finance at all stages. Whether you're talking to a banker, whether you're talking to your board, whether you're talking to the seller, I don't care who you're talking to, whether you're talking to your friends or family, be certain you're going to get the finance at all stages. Even if inside your head you have just a little bit of doubt, there's no need to share that externally. It does not help you in any way, shape, or form. Be certain, stay certain, speak certainty into the marketplace. And what that will do is it will get people to buy into your vision, because the more you stay certain, the more other bankers or your board members or investors or the sellers or seller that you're talking to, they're all going to think, well, yeah, there's a little bit of a road bump, but this deal is going to get through. You heard the way Jason was speaking. He's so certain this thing's going to get through. That confidence breeds confidence, right? It's that momentum. It's Newton's first law of physics. That which is in motion stays in motion. That which is at rest stays at rest. You want to create that motion, that energy, that forward momentum, and then keep pushing that ball forward, keep pushing that ball forward until it gets enough momentum to roll down the hill on its own, right? So that's the last thing I would say is stay certain and never share any uncertainty. Even if you have it here, never speak it into the marketplace.